As a group, we researched food insecurity and the role of warming houses. I was the team leader, and my group members were Kevin Balkin, Hunter Ehrenberg, Connor O'Brien, and Jarrett Cope, who couldn't be with us today. Throughout the year, we did various team exercises, starting with one that researched food insecurity. Within food insecurity, we discovered what it really is and how it's affecting America. And then at the end of the year, we tied that into a warming house project. While performing various group projects, we learned the strengths and weaknesses of our group so that we could execute that final project to the best of our ability. We started with researching food insecurity and then eventually went into taking inventory at the local warming house and then finally preparing a meal at the warming house. While these components of learning about our team and working as a team were worthwhile, one thing that really stood out was how much performing a service to people who need it the most really matters in the world. We will get into each component of the Warming House project, and we hope you enjoy.
About a week before we went to the warming house to prepare and serve our meal, James and I went to take inventory and see what items would be best to incorporate into our meal. We noticed that they had plenty of pasta and pasta sauce, as well as tuna and different types of meats, so we decided those would be the best items to use for our meal. After discussing with Alice Miller Nation, we decided a chicken and pasta meal would be the best route. We decided to use applesauce as well as our side because she said that there was also plenty of apples to be used.
So for the meal we made, we prepared chicken parmesan with a side of applesauce, green beans, and garlic bread. With preparing the entree, we had frozen chicken, which we baked in the oven, and that was put on top of the pasta and canned tomato sauce we prepared on the stove. With the sides, the applesauce we made from scratch, it took the most amount of preparation time. We got the apples from the storage, and we started to dice them up, put them in a bowl, and started to boil them. And after we boiled them, we strained it and we mashed them up to make the applesauce. The side of green beans we made were heated, they were canned and heated up on the stove. The garlic bread we made was from taking pre-cut bread and baking it in the oven. We prepared garlic butter and spread it on the baked garlic bread. Overall, I had a great time preparing the meals.
So originally we prepared a lot more meals than we thought going into this, and that just kind of demonstrates how many people really rely on the warming house. And when we did prepare the meals, we laid out all the to-go boxes in the dining room in a line, and we kind of formed a mini assembly line. So we'd lay out each meal in the boxes and just go down the table and put each meal in the boxes, and that kind of made the process go more efficient and effective. And after all the boxes were filled, we put them all in bags and brought them outside. And that just so it made an easier process for the people to come and get their meals. And it also reduced the risk of the coronavirus spreading or anything like that. And then after we put all the bags of food outside, we then cleaned around the whole warming house. So we wiped down all the counters. We made sure all the dishes were done. We mopped around the whole entire warming house, and we kind of wanted to make sure we left it the way we found it, so that helped a lot too.
To enhance our research on the warming houses, we all conducted interviews. Some important things we learned from our interviews in relation to warming houses and food insecurity were, it's kind of like one of my questions. A big problem with soup kitchens is that they don't have unlimited resources, so problems arise from that. If you
Certainly.
had unlimited resources, what would one thing you would do to make soup kitchens better?
They could probably use a quote-unquote delivery system. There's a lot of outreach now, but it is tough for some people to get to a soup kitchen or things like that. With unlimited resources, that would help them. And plus just the updating of the facilities. It's a hard enough job already, but working on old equipment with people who are volunteering or maybe out of the workforce for a little while, so it's even tougher on them. It makes it a bit of a challenge to produce meals for a lot of people in a small space.
Awesome. So how has COVID impacted the organization and operations this year compared to how they usually are?
Well, when the shutdown hit in mid-March, we looked at everything, and one of the first things, that was kind of a dramatic step to take, but we told all our volunteers, who are mostly retirees, if they're over the age of 70, we wanted them to stay home because we felt they were too much of an at-risk age group for COVID to be out there. So they all went home. So I had to hire people, college kids like you that were home, to work in the kitchen. Then I recruited new people to do the deliveries, finding people like your Aunt Kathy, who were suddenly furloughed from work and had free time and could go out and do the deliveries. On top of that, we had an influx. We went from 240 to 360 people getting meals. So we had to add half a dozen routes.
While you're saying that, that sounds like a, in the most general sense of the word, that sounds like a pretty good system. You have everything prepped, put in containers, give them out to people. It sounds very efficient. I'm a little familiar with how it's done, and I think you guys are doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, it's a good organization. It's it's core to the community, so it is good. And I like it. I can donate a couple hours of my time. I don't have any prep work to do ahead of time, and it's good to raise awareness, right?